I just wanted to quickly introduce myself. My name is Dwyer. For those of you who don't know me, but you are all in my belly. You are all part of the Team Platinum Presenters. And Team Platinum Presenters, I got to give you some stats on it. I just got to brag about our team. It's so exciting. But I may be your great-grandma, your great-great-grandma, your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandma. Like, it's always a horrible thing when someone meets me in person and then they go, oh my gosh, you're my great-great-grandma. I'm like, oh, I'm so old. It makes you sound so old, but it's actually a good thing. So part of our team, it's so exciting to have you all here. And I want to make sure that you feel comfortable enough to reach out and ask any questions that you might have. And also I want to make sure that you have the resources that you have. Now, I am live on my phone because every time I try to go live on my computer, I always forget that Facebook has made it so much harder to go live on your computer. So I can't copy paste all the links I'm going to be talking about right now. But as soon as I'm done with the live, what I will do is edit the description and I will put all the links of everything that I talk about in the description or worst case comments, okay? So I've got all my notes. I'm ready to go. I'm excited to be here. I'm first of all so excited that she asked me to be here and I'm so glad you are here. Libby is here. Who else is here? I want to see. Oh, I can't see. Lillian, you are here. Thank you so much. Alicia, you are here. I'm so glad to see y'all. Okay, so again, my name's Christine. I've been a coach now for 12 years. I joined May 31st of 2008. And when I joined, I was a no, so I want you all to know, and I always like to tell my story this because sometimes we get turned off or we run away from the people that we ask to check out coaching and then we never ask them again because they said no. Of course, ask someone one time and if they say no, then that's always the answer, correct? Well, I was a no. When someone asked me, I clearly remember this. I was in my living room in Rochester, New York. I was standing there and it was another instructor friend from the gym. So I'm a fitness instructor. I've been teaching group fitness now for over 30 years. And when she was at my house, it was a friend of mine, she told me that I should check it out because then I could sell supplements to all of the people that come and take my class. And I was like, ugh. No, I don't want to do that. And then she tried to steer me in the angle of, well, you'll get a discount on all the supplements that you take. And it's all you got to do is pay a monthly fee. At that time it was $14.97. And I'm like, why would I pay $14.97 every month to get a discount on supplements when I've got my little GNC gold card right here? I can go to the mall and get whatever artificial crap I can get from that store. Like, hey, Jackie, so excited. So that was me. I was like, she's cray. Why would I want to stock my closets full of inventory? Why would I want to try to sell the people that are taking my classes at the gym on stuff? I first of all get fired from the gym so hard because I'm selling outside stuff to my members. But also then they're not going to want to take my class anymore because they're going to be like, oh, there's Christine. She's going to try and sell you that stuff. And so I was like, no way at all. So what I ended up doing was moving on. Just didn't think twice about it. Not until 1 year later passed when somebody else told me about becoming a coach. And again, my immediate knee-jerk reaction was like, what? Isn't that a scam? Like, I vowed it never to do a home business because I couldn't stand it when all my friends would be like, hey, come over to my purse party. Hey, let's sell your gold. And I couldn't stand it. I was always a no. I don't want to go to those parties because I didn't want to be that person. And then someone I trusted, actually my boss, is the one that told me about becoming a Beachbody coach. And I was like, what? Isn't that like a scam? I don't get it. But my boss was actually telling her family to do it and was telling all of her friends to do it, everyone. And at that time, my boss was Chalene Johnson. You may know of her, fitness celebrity of Turbo Jam, Turbo Fire, and Chalene Extreme, and Pio. I mean, list goes on. That was my boss because I started working for Chalene back in 2000 for her company, Powder Blue Productions, which is a certification company. We certified people for her formats, Turbo Kick and all. So back 2008, I was prego, like big time prego. I already had a 1.5-year-old son. I was working for Chalene's company full time as her national promotion director, managing all of her presenters, managing all the money that comes in by people getting certified by all these people, like teaching people how to actually market. And then Chalene told me to go do that? Doesn't make sense, does it? Why would my employer tell me to go do something that would steer my focus away from my full-time job? I didn't know what the plan was, and I'll share that plan in a second. So then I was like, this doesn't seem real. I researched the heck out of it. Guys, this is back in 2008. It was nothing. So if you looked online for anything about network marketing, all you saw were those like stuffy men in suits, you know, like that stuff. And I was like, ew, what is this? I researched. I actually flew out to California to meet with Beachbody. Yeah, I sat down with a guy who's no longer in administration. He's actually a coach now himself, to go through all of this. Sat down with Carl, did a tour of Beachbody headquarters to figure out, what the heck is all this thing? And they're walking me through the corridors and they're going, yeah, and what you'll do is you'll run webinars. And I'm like, okay. And in my mind, I'm like, what's a webinar? I have no idea what a webinar is. I knew nothing about network marketing. I was the girl that said, no, I will never do a home business. But you know what? I was actually doing a home business without even knowing it. And it's kind of like network marketing, except it doesn't have the whole payout structure, because I was an independent consultant working for Chalene Johnson's company as a presenter and a promotions director for her certifications. So I would go out and entice people to do this thing with me that they may never know anything about, and then plunk money down to get certified. And then I would sell them on all the things, like all the clothes and all of the materials that we had. Like they would buy it all. I actually have the record for certifying the most instructors in the company's history, as well as having the highest sales records in the company's history. Like seriously. So I didn't know that I was actually doing a home business. But now if you look at kind of the parallel, everything was prepping me for exactly where I am today. So fast forward, that was why I started as a coach, because I saw it was something that I was already doing. And I'm going to share with you what I did when I first started. I'm going to share with you my biggest mistakes, and I'm going to share with you some of the best things that you should be doing as well. I've got it all listed here so I won't forget. But I didn't know, thankfully so, that I started as a coach May 2008, because I started to gradually build my coaching business up. I asked someone. And progressively that business just started to grow. And it was because I asked people who were like me, who I knew personally, who were my family members, who were friends, who were people that I certified, who were gym directors that I did certifications for, all my contacts that I had been grooming and talking to and building relationships with in the industry that I'm in for years. I went to them. I went to the people that I knew. And I gotta share this. You see what this is? These are sheets from my original notes talking to Beachbody about what this is all about. Yeah, I still got it. And I love this one right here. I remember sitting on a couch and asking them, all right, what does the normal coach do then? What do they normally do per month? And this is what they told me. This is 2008. The top promoters for Beachbody back in 2008. You want to know how many average coaches per month they signed up? You guys know what the numbers are now. They're like 100. So like right now, you got the Ashley Molsteads who sign 100 coaches a month. Back then, the top promoters would sign an average of 3 to 4 new coaches a month. And in my mind, I'm like, I got that. I did back then, because I had a huge network and I asked those people. So thankfully, I started building that business along the way and asking people along the way, because I felt responsible for them to be successful, and they all did as they grew themselves. Obviously, not all. I shouldn't say all, because that would be amazing. Not all. But little did I know that Chalene was planning actually to sell her company. So if I did not decide to say yes and start building my nest egg, I would have been without a job. I would have had to go back to my old life, which is in the medical industry. I used to be an x-ray tech, but then I moved off into the business side of applications and sales. I would have had to go back to that life where I traveled all the time every week if I didn't start this. So thankfully she had vision, because I didn't at that time. But when I started, I just did what I love to do. So let's go into this. You ready? Let's go into what did I do? What was my biggest mistake? And what was the greatest successes that I had? Well, let me first start off with my biggest mistake in growing my coaching business for the first 4 to 5 years. I mean, I've been a coach now for about 12 years, but I would say the first big chunk, my biggest mistakes are this. I worked off memory as well as depending on people getting back to me. I didn't have a list. I initially started a list with my little yellow papers, but then once I got through that, I just relied on who would get back to me. That was it. And then I'd also rely on, happening, coming across someone. There was no Facebook for me. Where I was at that time was MySpace and a blog and YouTube-ish. That's about it. But I wasn't on Facebook. I actually resisted Facebook. I'm like, why? I just learned how to put music on my MySpace, and I just learned how to put a background on my MySpace. Like, I had a cool MySpace page, but I didn't want to learn a new platform. So I was like, I'm not going to Facebook. I didn't go on to Facebook until 2009. So a year later. And so the thing is that I didn't work off a list, and that was the biggest mistake, because especially now as my brain is going crazy and you can't remember everything, I've lost so many contacts in business for people signing up as coaches because I didn't keep track of them. I did not work off a list. So if your number one priority and critical thing that you do is you have to have a list. And as I said in the beginning of my thing, I'm going to share with you, I know, Alicia, totally old school. I'm going to share with you an old secret Success Club tracker that Beachbody used to have that I like. I like it better because it has like a master list tracker on it. So I'll give you that link when we're done, because again, I can't do it here on my phone. So that's the number one thing, is I did not work off a list. I worked off of just relying on people getting back to me, which, you know, how often do people do that? Okay, and then just remembering like, coming across that person and then remembering to ask them. So there's a lot of people that signed up as coaches who I have personal relationships with that are not signed up with me because I didn't ask them. See the problem with that? You have to ask the people that are your connections and be okay with no, because I was a no. So now here we are, 12 years later, my team, which when I joined, I knew I was going to do something big. So yes, I did name the team, and I knew that I was going to build a movement. I knew I was going to build a tribe. So I knew I wasn't going to just do anything small, because I used all my past experiences of all the training that I used to do for applications for X-Ray, and I applied it to coaching, how to train people. And the same thing with the Powder Blue Productions and mentoring all those fitness professionals to make them instructors to become professionals, the top ones in the videos, the top ones at the fitness conferences. I took all of that training and I put it right into here. And because we grew, we are over 200,000 people large. I haven't done the check of it last, but we are around 210,000 people large. That's over half the size of the network. Our team, when I just signed up and I asked someone and they asked someone. So do you see the impact that you can have? Because why do I have that impact? I'm just a girl from a country town of an upstate New York. I don't have the money. I didn't have the education. I just worked, and I aligned myself up with the right people who made me push harder, who got me out of my comfort zone. That's it. That's how I got here. I don't have any secret buddy in my pockets or none of that stuff. Just taking the smart road of aligning up with the experts who can push you. So getting started, that was my biggest mistake. What was the second one? Oh, here's my second biggest mistake, is not using a way to capture people's emails. So again, I relied on people coming to me, and I did not keep a list. I just kept it up to whoever I ran across. And then the next biggest problem is I didn't capture people giving me their email. And the easiest way that you can do that is we've got a one sheet that I made for the team that's got all the 12 free workouts that Beachbody has. You know, all of them. We all have the sample workouts back in our Beachbody On Demand. Anybody can do those workouts. All they got to do is create a free Team Beachbody account. They don't have to have a bot account. So I have this one sheet that has all the hyperlinks embedded into it that gives away the free workouts. So what do? Well, you advertise that. Put a link tree in your bio, advertising, hey, let people know, hey, if you want to get 12 free workouts from super trainers, just go and fill out my form. Go create a free sign-up form on Google, and there's the link that someone uses, and they give you their email and name, and now you're building a list. If you're not building a list of unknown people that you don't know, then your business is going to stall because there's only so many physical people in this world that you can think of. Your initial ground floor foundational business is people that you know. If I look at who's my top coaches right now, I mean, my business is old. It's a 12-year-old business. I have achieved Superstar Diamond twice. Who are my top leaders where I can go to bed on Wednesday nights and not even look at my coach business? Those are people I already knew in life. It wasn't someone brand new that I met on social media. You are going to build your team that way. But I'm going to just tell you, your foundational team to Emerald, to Diamond, to even a Star Diamond are people you know already in your life. I wanted to do something with my closest friends. So why didn't I ask them to do this with me? Thank God I did. Because now we get to go on trips and spend time at conferences sometimes together because this is something we're doing together. Does that make sense? Like, don't be scared of the people around you in your real life because that's your foundation of your business. It truly is. But it's all on how you deliver it. It's always on how you deliver it. So those are my two biggest mistakes. Here's my two greatest successes. One, when I first got started, I knew nothing about network marketing. I knew nothing about Beachbody. I only knew of P90X and I really knew Turbo Jam because, it was Shalene's program. So Shalene created that program for Beachbody around 2005 or so. So I was, of course, already doing Turbo Kick, which is the live version of Turbo Jam. And what was happening was there was these message boards where one was called Let the Party Begin, and that was a Turbo Kick thread or Turbo Jam thread. And I spent time in this Beachbody message board helping people with their turbo, helping people, because I loved people becoming addicted to turbo. Like, turbo was a super Kool-Aid. And when someone was like, oh, I think I might do it, I'm like, yeah, let me help you do it. Because I really loved when people became turbo boys and turbo girls. I loved it so much. So I spent so much time in that message thread. So one of the greatest successes that what we did as a team when we first got started way back in 2008, all of us who knew nothing about network marketing, but all of us knew how to get people together, get them all doing one thing and having success in fitness. So there was this little thing called the Turbo 10-Day Slim Down Challenge. It's probably backwards for you. Awesome, Courtney. I'm glad that you like that story. This is what we started. This is the OG challenge group because we didn't have challenge groups back then. We didn't even have Shakeology back then. We had those old Power 90 bars and Activit, and then these little cans of 2-Day Slim Fast, which were horrible for you. All of it. But we didn't have challenge packs. But we had this guide. And because Turbo was our world, I asked all my Turbo people, what we decided to do, this is one of the greatest successes. And if you are this kind of person, I'm going to invite you to still do it to this day. We did home parties. Now, I personally didn't do a home party because you already know I didn't like home parties. But I taught everybody how to do one. Because it's always like, do as I say, not as I do, right? So what we did was we followed this. We gathered everybody together and said, hey, come over. And we then played some video for them. And we introduced them and said, everybody who wants to do a 10-day slim down challenge, sign up. What you're going to order is Turbo Jam. And this booklet came with it. And in it is this 10-day slim challenge. All the people paid $50 or so for Turbo Jam. That's all they got back then. They didn't get bod. There was no such thing. They got Turbo Jam. And they all did this 10-day slim down challenge. They lost weight. We had before and afters, and we just did that on repeat and on repeat. And it was easy for people to do initially because it was something they already loved to do. Pull people together. We're all doing this together. We're all doing the same workout. Isn't that crazy how that all kind of now transformed? That was one of the greatest successes that we had, but it only lasted for so long. Like, you can't keep doing that over and over again. Eventually you have to grow and grow into your coaching role, in which I didn't know anything about. So I'm not going to go into that whole story of how I grew that part. But what I ended up doing was hiring an expert in network marketing. I hired him for a full year. His name was Craig Holliday, and he helped me teach my leaders how to grow they're leaders too. I'd fly him all over the country to meet with my top leaders. You don't need to do that, thankfully, because you've got top leaders right here now. We do this virtually now. We actually taught him how to do social media because he wasn't for it. All right, so those are my two biggest failures and my two biggest successes. You want to know what's working for me right now? Hey guys, it's constantly an evolution of change. And I would be fooling you if I said, yes, I'm always amazing in this business. I personally made a decision that I wasn't going to work towards achieving elite anymore. So elite is a top rank in the company, but what I recognized with myself as December was rolling around was I did not enjoy the activity I personally was doing. So I've achieved elite 8 times total. I was number 2 coach in the company in 2011. I've achieved all of the awards. I've achieved what I wanted to achieve and didn't even know I was working to achieve. So I'm not saying don't. I am saying do. Achieve those things. You need to. But I moved to a place in my business where I wasn't going to work for a title or anything anymore. I wanted to focus on the activity that I just enjoyed. And sometimes that doesn't make you hit markers and stuff. There's one constant thing that I constantly do that I will not let go of. And that is always achieve Success Club 10. At least, bare minimum. So it's been a challenge to go through the changes of this business. I would say this year is the least amount of coaches that I've ever sponsored ever as a coach. I used to sponsor around 80 to 90 coaches a year. I don't sponsor that many at all. Last year, I want to say I sponsored maybe 40 to 50. And this year, it's even way less than that. And it makes you constantly keep reevaluating yourself, first of all, but then you also have to identify what's your priority and what do you want to get out of something. So I am good with where I'm at. I am always a work in progress, and I hope you understand that too. It doesn't matter how successful you become, it's not easy street. It's not just always going to pop diamonds and achieve these titles. You have to constantly keep staying with the flow, but also here's the other critical part. Consistency of your activity that gets those results. So those are some things to really understand. This is what's working for me now, and I'm actually really excited about it. I don't know if it would help me achieve any title, because personally for me, I'm not working towards that. I'm working towards individual success of where they want to go. And I'm not going to push anyone to achieve my agenda, because I've done that. And it's not fun for me. But again, you have to sometimes make sacrifices to achieve in the business just so you can get to that next level up, if that makes sense. So sometimes, yeah, you are going to do things that are very difficult, very stressful, and pushing you to a limit so that you can achieve. But sometimes you need to make that marker. You need to prove moving forward in success in the business. So here's what's working for me right now. What I'm going to suggest is what you do if you don't already have it. I formed a pod in Facebook Messenger thread. So not a Facebook group. I've noticed a huge difference. Now, hopefully this Facebook group is working for you. But what I've known personally for myself is I've got a group of 6 coaches that are deep working with me. And I opened it up, called Pod Squad, and they're old diamonds to some that are working towards getting their diamond back as well as beyond, and also achieving diamond for the first time. So it's not rank specific, but we're gonna go there. So what's working right now is the rules for it is we meet weekly on Friday by Zoom. They are using a tracker every day and sometimes pop quiz. They just gotta put it up and show it. The other thing is they're required to do between 4 and 5 power hours a week, and they have to show which ones that they're doing, and they have to achieve Success Club. And they've been doing it now. It's been 3 to 4 months that we've been working together. And if you can see this whiteboard back here, you can see that I track them. And that is one of my tips on here that I'm going to talk about. Full body chills. That's so awesome, Heather. Awesome. So this I'm going to talk about in a second, because this is actually part of the secret sauce. And it's weird. It's so weird. If you guys know Barbie Kalev is Siggy Kalev's wife. Her and I are really good friends. And so she came over one day and was looking at my office because I remodeled it recently. And she was seeing my board, and I said, you know what, Barbie? I used to do that all the time with my coaches when I was working with them, is physically write it all out and move through their business with them and show them. And I didn't do it for a while after. And that's where I lost touch with a lot of my coaches. And I restarted this back up, and she's like, I am gonna do this too, because it really keeps you connected. And I'm gonna show you the secret to that as well. All right, so that's the rules that they got in. They're supposed to do power hours, which if you're not familiar with the power hours that we offer, so not just Team Platinum Presenters, there are a lot of Team Platinum Presenters coaches on there, but the network, we've come together with a group of top leader coaches and put together a weekly schedule. So Jamie Shepard is the one that organized it all together, and top leaders are running 3 power hours a day, 3 times a day, every day except for Thursday, there's 2. So I'm every other Thursday. I will be running it this Thursday, and I'll give you a link to one of my recorded power hours about inviting and following up, as well as some IG growth hacks, okay? So I'm gonna share that link after we're all done. But to join those power hours, if you're not already in our team Facebook group, make sure that you join it. And the only way to get in it is making sure that you go to the first post of Start Here on Platinum Presenters University. So make sure you go create that free account if you don't already, then you'll be able to join the Facebook group. Okay, so they do power hours. That's the other thing that's working, is these power hours. Group challenge group. Oh, I was like, what's that mean? I run a challenge group with them. So all of them, we're all in it. We each took an assigned day of topic, and we rotate the topics every couple months. So every Thursday is my day, and I post about exercise in the challenge group. And so we've been all running it together, and we're getting a lot more interaction and people having success, because it's not just me and my few people that I'm working with. So consider running a group together for a challenge group. And then, the whiteboard. So this whiteboard, the secret of it is whenever they have signed up a coach, whenever they have achieved Success Club, they post it in the message thread. I videotape myself writing it on the board, and then I post that video in the group. They love it. Love it! Because don't you love to see that stuff? And I talk about this board on Instagram all the time too, because they want to know that other people see that they're moving forward. And then I just mailed them out these special gift surprises. I made some screen printed shirts and all for them, just because they're doing a great job. That's all. Just want to show them recognition. And the 5th part of knowing, or of the success of this pod group, is knowing their motivation. When I was talking with each of them to get them into this group, that's what I wanted to know. I wanted to know, first of all, how I was failing them. What was I not doing that they were missing? And so, for instance, one of my coaches, I asked her, I go, what are you motivated by? Like, are you motivated by bonus of money? Like if you achieve diamond and get money, is that motivating you? Or is it recognition? Or is it time personally with me? I didn't know exactly what it was. I was assuming it was money, and it wasn't. Her motivation was interaction with me. It was personal time with me, that open door. And I didn't know that. And if you don't know what someone's motivated by, you're going to push them in a direction that they don't care. And they're not going to move forward. But she's moving her business forward. It's this one. Oh, you can't see it. It's this bottom one. She is sponsoring and sponsoring and sponsoring, making such a big difference in her business because of all this personal time and recognition and interaction that we're getting, because I know that that was what she was motivated by. So understand that. So now knowing about this pod group is what's working right now. You want to know what the second biggest success was? So I already told you the first one was my challenge groups with the 10-day slim down challenge. But one of the second most powerful things that I've done in my business in the growth years is running these 30-day programs called 30-day business boot camp. And it wasn't just my personally sponsored coaches. It was the downline. And I made it very difficult, an application process for people to be a part of. And they had a 3-strike rule that if they didn't complete their daily assignment after 3 times, then they were kicked out. People didn't want to get kicked out. I can't tell you how many times people held themselves to a strong accountability and their partner that they were assigned in there because of the strict guidelines to force their business forward. Now, not everybody can run something like that, and not everybody's going to be a part of it. Because the truth is I used to run these for my personally sponsored coaches, and I don't know if it's because mama's running it, but they didn't care. Who cares? They didn't do what they were going to do. It was people in my downline who really wanted to make sure that they were in it, they learned what was coming up, and that they didn't fail me or their partner. And they followed through. So do you see the theme here? It's you got to create these strong layers where you can't just go, no, I'm not gonna today. You have to, if it's that important for you. So those are my final steps there. Last thing, I always prepare way too much, so I'm so sorry, Jackie. I always prepare way too much, and I think, oh, that'll take 5 minutes to talk about. From, I don't know what it was. I think it was Sammy Glonick did a video for Summit, and she talked about running these pods for coaches to get to Emerald, and then when they do, they get pushed up to a new Emerald pod thread. So I talked with my coaches about that, and I said, you know what? Let's start a new pod thread for just our new coaches. Because what I've recognized is when I throw them in my Facebook group, they don't really stick to what they're gonna do. But these message threads, they do. Because you see who sees your posts, right? You see the little bubble of the head? You see it. And if you keep more of a personal connection and not just everybody come on in, people will move. So the team of my pod squad, these ladies on the board, we've now created a new coach group where they're adding their new coaches in it, and I'm adding my new coaches in it because I didn't want to fail my new coaches. I have a problem with overloading people. Probably I'm doing that with you too. But here, I'm going to just share with you quickly, what's the assignments and how is this new coach group going to run? You know what it's going to do? It's going to repeat. Every Monday, I am posting what they're supposed to do for the week. And you want to know something? It's going to be the same every week with a slight variance. So the first thing that they do is they complete a document called the first 48 hours. And again, I'm going to include all the links to everything if you guys want them after I'm done with this. They complete that and they start making their list of people that they're going to contact. The second thing that I have them do is just open a bod group without running one, because they need to know the process, but also it's just good for them to do that, because if any of their customers look for a bod group, they'll see their coaches. But if they don't have one open, their customers can go request somebody else. You don't want that. So just have them open a group. They don't need to run it, just open it. That's it. Go through the motions. Third thing they got to do is they're going to use the Success Club activity tracker that I'm going to include for y'all. The fourth thing that they need to post is what workout program are they going to follow, and they need to post every day they do that workout on their stories. Then the next thing, they have to do at least 3 power hours a week, and they need to list which ones those are. And then the final thing is I give them a post of the day that they can put up on social media. I made this 30 post calendar that if you just pick one day, it's going to say, all right, post about something you learned today in your personal development. It gives you an idea of what to say on social media when you don't know what to say on social media. And that's it. So that's what they're going to do every week. How's it going to change every week? Here's what's going to change. The post of the social media week. That's going to change to the next week. That's it. So I'm just showing them 7 days, and then the next week, the next one. But do you see? Nothing changes. The activity is the same. If they're doing a power hour, the leader is going to tell them, invite, 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 invite. They're going to do the activity that they need to do to grow their business. Okay? It's all about invitation and tracking. Invitation, tracking. Invitation, tracking. Goes right back down to that. So that's all I've got for you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them now. But what I'm going to do is when we're all done, I'll put up all the links of the things I talked about. The first 48 hours document, which is a document that I give to my coaches who reply back to me and say that they're not a discount coach. Okay? So when I get a new coach, I always tell them, reply back and tell me which one you are. Are you this one? Just want to work on their health and fitness, basically a discount coach. Or are you the second one? I want to do that, but I also might want to sell things here and there. And then there's the third one of, nope, I want to make money and build a team. So if that person replied back with any money, then they need to get their first 48 hours document, because that will help them get set up. And then also to start thinking about asking their friends and family to do what they're doing. So that's what I will post up there. I'll post a social media calendar. What else is it? I'll post my power hour that I did. There's a recording of it. And in my power hour at the end are some IG hacks, okay? So I think that's it. Hopefully it was helpful. You got something out of it, but I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being a part of the team and working your booty off. If you've not created a free account with our team training site, make sure you go ahead and do that. Just go to platinumpresenters.com. You'll see a button that says create a free coach member account. Make sure that you create it, but then log in at least one time so that you can go into our Facebook group too. Thank you so much, Alicia. Thank you all for being here. See y'all later.